And we are alive like the famous tour by two French musicians. This is the Code Call. We are on day 46 of the 100 days straight of coding every day, a little bit or a lot. And we have a guest here, and this guest is Leon Andersen. Leon, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Pretty tired, but pretty good day as well. Yeah, I worked on the. Of course, I did my typing training a little bit as well, um, as I've been doing it every day since maybe 1.5 weeks. And I'm close to finish a section on RESTful routes. Um, we um, basically worked on unique identifiers, how to make um, individuals. In this example, that we clicked on, um, to show up in a more detailed way, kind of simulating what happens when you click on a comment on social media to expand it and to see more details. And then we used the UUID package. I think it's Universal Unique Identifier package, um, to create unique identifiers. So we can build them. We could build them into the RESTful routes. Yeah. What I was a bit confused about, but I'm pretty sure the code will educate on how it goes in the future. So far, we only use the package in a way where the unique identifiers get created once when we start the server, but when we restart the server, there will be different unique identifiers. And I'm curious on how that will go, make them stay consistent. And and then we looked into patching, into patch requests. And well, before I go into that, let me check real quick if there was anything from the IDs that I missed. Yeah, I could describe a little bit of the code that we use. So inside of the index.js of the server, we put an app.get. We wrote an app.get with the route to comments /:ID. And then inside of the request response function, we defined ID with const as request.parent, or basically I don't know if that's defined, because like const and then an array with the string ID inside of it, or the variable ID in it, equals request of parents. I think code never really specifically explain this way of writing stuff. The syntax, I mean, I know const, but not in this context of like having an array before the equal sign. Maybe we go into that today for a little, but before that, I'll finish what we did in the app.get. So we basically, with the line that I just described, we basically defined that ID can be found inside of inside of our data array. I don't know if it's, I don't know where that was stored again, but which file, but and what do I want to say? And give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not really getting the syntax here. Can I describe the syntax? And
I think you're probably mean something. I think we looked at it before. It's just something that's no longer fresh into your mind. It is just a simple array destruction. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we can, for example, say 1, 2. Then we can also skip 1, and we can call the next one Hans, and then the next one Brian. You know, and now if we log those out, console.log. 1, 2, Hans, and Brian. We just assign the values one by one from the array. Do you remember array structuring? It's
so
similar to this.
It's an object basically. We define what the what the values of the objects are.
Well, no, it's only an object because I knocked it out this way. So we can also log it out this way. 1, 1. Then we can say console.log 2, 2. And say console.log. What else do we have here? Hounds, and we can say console.log Ryan, like this. This, right? It's just because here I log it out as an object. It's an object, but it's all just, this is one variable 1 that has the first value here. If I change this value to true, then this 1 is will name true.
Okay, so before the equal sign, it's always the object, not the what I don't know. My brain is pretty fried today, but like on the right side it's the value, and on the left side it's the parameter. No, it's not a parameter.
These are the variable names.
Variable names. Okay, yeah. Okay. So when we do a const like that, on the left side it's always going to be the variable names, and on the right side the values. Did I get that right?
Yeah, so wait, let me write it like this. Const my array equals to this. Say here my array, and here we say my array. So here, these are all the same, right? So we can either structure the first value to be true, we can just assign true to it, or we can, grab the first value in the array, and this stuff can even be mixed. So we can put an object here and be like foo, bar, or like this, and then we can grab here, we can grab foo. And now we also got foo here. So if we log out foo, or if we put in here console.log, foo is foo, but we get that value that we are finding here. And you can even go more crazy. Like you can nest as much as you want. You can be like, hey, we put in bar here. And then we say, we from foo, we destructure the thing that we want to call foo, you know? And we can say, no, actually, we want to call this bar. And then we have to put in bar here, obviously, and bar here. And then like this stuff in your crazy and nested, which is why some people say also you shouldn't go too overboard with it. But this normal API, just the basic area and grabbing values from that, is something that is used in the hooks API, which will become super um, relevant for you when you start to learn React. With the basic gist of it, it's simple structuring.
Got it. So what code used in the example today was what you have in line 28 with curly brackets. That's why I said.
With curly bracket, got it. So with objects, yeah. So we can also do something like this, for example, 10x def. Also, we can then here say 10x def. And you can also assign this to a variable like this, and then we can look that out too. 10x def is an xdef like this. And if you want to change the name, then you can put a colon here and give it the new name. So for example, we can say lf nil, and instead of well, we have to say here lf nil here. And here's our value.
What happens if we just write 10x def equals awesome? So 10x def inside of curly brackets equals and then awesome.
Where do you mean?
Would that work as well?
Well, where should we put the equals now?
So
There's a bunch of 10x def here. So
yeah. So basically, you could comment out everything and then just write const curly brackets 10x def equals 10x def in curly brackets. Oh no, const curly brackets 10x def. Yes, is it? And then equals awesome in quotes.
that's not possible because you cannot destruct this is a string, right? Oh, this is undefined. It only works
Why?
because everything in JavaScript is technically an object. So a destructuring syntax works, but you cannot a string .10xdef is undefined. But what would be possible is, for example, the length property. We could say
Yes.
console.log
Yeah.
uh, length like this, and that is 7. But also has 7 letters.
Could you do 10x def and then on the other side just a number maybe?
Number,
Yeah.
yeah, but then both
And
is undefined because
without length. Without length.
well, length is undefined now. Because a number does not have a def or a length property. Stuff that a number is, for example, is toString, for example, like a toString method, which would be toString, which would be just a function.
My brain is fried.
No worries. This is also very brain frying because this is code you will never see. You will never see someone destructure stuff from from primitives. Like people always destructure from arrays or objects.
Well, can I can you write down the line that I want to I'm still not getting, which is const curly brackets ID equals request dot params.
Got it. Okay. So the way that this could happen is now he's mixing the structuring with your usual object syntax, right? So let's first create a request two, so we can do with the request. We're going to do this example, but I'm first going to create a different object called request two, right? And we make it an empty object. So if I, for this one, say console.log request two dot params, what do you think would be the output? We'll comment this out for a minute. What do you think would be the output?
I mean, there's nothing inside of that thing. So I don't know. I don't know if it has any params by default, but I guess probably it's just what are the params of an empty object? Probably not.
So sorry, what? You lag for a second?
Null, maybe?
What is the value if it's not existing in JavaScript?
Then it's undefined, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So request two dot params is undefined. So now let's create another request thingy, and we give it a params, and we maybe call it hello world, and now we say console.log request three dot param. So what do you think would be, what will we get here?
Yeah, I guess. Hello world then.
Exactly. Request three dot params. So now we get hello world, and now we can go to this example here. So let's take our normal request, and what he has here is he has params here, and then he has another object with an ID here. Of, let's say, I don't know, let's just put in this CUID one, not CUID. Sorry, UID, I mean, UID, like this. And now you could either say const ID equals to request.params.id. Let's call this ID 3 because I'm going to show 3 examples. We can say const the example that he has basically, we could say const ID equals to request.params. And we could also say const equals to request, and we destructure param, and then we go into the nesting and take the ID. But because we already have something named ID, we need to give this a different name. So we call this ID2. And all of these, if we log them out, console.log ID3, console.log ID, and we say console.log ID2, they're all the same value.
Okay, makes sense.
Sweet.
Okay. Okay, so let me get back into it for a second. Yeah, and then in the next line we had comments.find C. I don't know how to pronounce that, but basically C, that's an arrow function that returns c.id triple equal parse int id. I mean, it's a bit hard to describe the code, but basically this line makes finds which comment has the ID that we have that we wrote inside of the.
Do you want to quickly write it to me so I can write it down so you see it here?
Okay. comments. I mean, it's all element of app.get, so there is no cost.
So you were lagging for a bit. What did you say?
It's inside of app.get before the comments start.
It's inside of curly brackets before the cons.
App.get. App.get.
App.get, got it. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't matter too much. We can just create our own function and say function app get, just for the sake here and start here to emulate it a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, the const line is the same before, const curly brackets ID.
Okay.
Exactly, and then a new line with comments. No, comments.
Comments. Yes.
Yes. No, comment, like a comment. Like that, something.
Like comment.
Yes. Dot find.
The comment needs to be defined somewhere, right?
Yeah, we have it in the in the RESTful route of the app.get.
So there's like a comments array here somewhere. This?
No, it's I don't know how to describe it. Let me check if because I wrote down similar code in a comment or in a note. Maybe I find it, then I can send you just the. Okay, then closer.
Double clicking a sound turns out does not stop it again. It takes it again.
Okay. 20 seconds.
Because comments needs to come from somewhere. So I'm super curious to see where you get it from.
Yes. Okay.
Only take minutes. So are you typing the code now, or what's happening?
Yeah, I'm typing the code out of the video, but it's close.
You can also send me a screenshot. Well,
Fuck, I forgot.
it's easier for you.
Anyway, I'm done now. Okay.
Okay. Where did you send it?
Should be in our private chat.
Oh, I got it. Took a while, I guess. Fly around the world. Let's see here. We have. Yeah, this comment needs to be defined somewhere. Like is it imported in the file or something? This cannot be like comments need to exist somewhere. I don't know if it's at the top of the file or something, but it cannot stand like this by itself.
So it's not. I thought this means that it accesses the URL that's
Oh
at
no,
the
no,
top.
comments needs to be somewhere. I don't know if it's defined at the top or something, but this
Is
code in and of itself does not work because comments is undefined, and undefined does not have a find method, so this would blow up.
so line 97 does not refer to line 77.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly. It does
we
not.
have yes, it is. I'm not sure where. Like, I would have to skip through the video to see where it's exactly.
But we can still answer your question. So what's happening here basically is we have like an array defined somewhere. Oh, I need to keep that fake up here so the code will not blow up. But we basically have like a fake, like an array defined here somewhere. Maybe like this, or no, they have an ID too. So it's like ID, blah, and then content, what, and also stream. Well, the types of comments that we usually get in this stream. And then we have another ID foo with I learned so much. I'm going to earn 100K. You know, like this. And what find does basically is it takes it's a
Yeah,
little bit like, oh, you know the case suite.
I found it somewhere in the same file. Yeah,
So you found the comments you mean?
I couldn't understand what you said.
You found the comments array in the same file you said?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. I found it, and um, is the so in line 82 you have comments inside of that URL.
Yes.
Is that's not the same as the comments array, right? That's just a URL that's shadowing the same variable, isn't it?
That there's no shadowing going on because this is not a variable. Shadowing is when you redeclare a variable somewhere in the scope, even though it's already been defined with the same name in the outside scope. This is just a string under which you would be able to ping the server to access the comments. But this could be anything. I mean, it makes sense that it is comments/ID because you're probably looking up a specific comment that you want to get from that route. But this could also be like, I don't know, gnomes, you know, it would be a little weird to then get a comment back from that route, but this is just the name of the URL.
Okay, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah, my brain. I'm sorry today.
All good, all good.
Yeah, totally. Um, yeah, so basically, the comments that find is the line is about finding the comment that matches the ID
Yes.
that we put inside of the URL, inside of the get request. Yeah, exactly. So and it has to be parsed into a number. In this case, because we used in this predefined numbers, we didn't use the UUID before at that point. So yeah. So as far as I understand it, it has to be turned into numbers again because when it gets um, how do I say it? When we get it from the c.id, no, somewhere the numbers will be turned into strings, right? At some point, and then we have to put them, convert them back into numbers again. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yes, because the comments in the way that you've defined them probably have them as numbers. And when you grab params from your app in a Real Express app, this is obviously pseudocode, but in a Real Express app, the params are all stringified. So this is a string, and you cannot do a triple equals check if this is a string and this is a number. It's always going to be false. And therefore, you need to convert the ID that you get from the params into a number so that you can do a triple equals check.
Got it. Yeah, I think the next example, I sent you the code as well. Can go quick over, and then it should be fine.
Sweet.
Did
Thanks for
you?
sending. Just fix our little stop thingy here, like this. Okay.
So about how to patch. So we use the same ID from the params, but because we already used the UUID, we didn't have to stringify it or unstring it, make it into a number, parse it into a number again, which we can see in line 91. So the comment that we want to patch is identified by that ID, and then we find that the new comment text is the text that we find inside of the body of the request, which is line 89, and then we basically updated the comment of the to patch comment, which is a bit confusing that there's so much comment inside there, but basically the line 93 to patch.comment equals new comment text means that we replace the comment text of the comment text, and then we just redirect to the main comments directory URL.
Yeah, nice. Great.
Yes. Yeah, and the dot comment, as far as I'm understanding, refers to the comment variable inside of the object inside of the comments array.
The dot comment, you mean this one or this one?
Both. I think both, right?
Well, this one is referring to the comment that gets sent in the patch request that this route get, right? Because it comes from the request. And
Okay.
this one is from the found comments in the comments array, the comment property. So if they have a comment property like this, that is what we're accessing here and then mutating.
Okay, so the comment in the dot comment in 93 is a different dot comment than 89.
Yes.
The 89 refers to the source of where we're getting the requests, the patch request from.
Yeah, it's basically what the user tells us to do. I think you've checked out something like Postman or so in the course, right? This is
Yes,
basically
sure.
what you send with Postman. And this is the stuff that is already in your quote unquote database or in your memory of commons. And then you're
Yes.
just writing what you got from the request into that memory. And the thing that was there previously just gets overwritten and is basically deleted.
Is that shadowing? Because I mean, yeah, are they variables? I don't know.
No, because they're clearly on different objects, right? This is request.body.comment. This is to patch comment.comment. There are some
Okay,
problems
so
here, things that I would critique when we go to the advanced stuff. Namely this mutation here, but in general, this is fine and it's fine. This line is fine-ish, I would say.
okay, so the dot comment method is specific to its object.
And it's not a method, right? It's just a property because this is not a function.
Yeah, got it. True. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, now the last open question I had, but I guess this is, as far as I'm seeing it, it's coming now in the course, but which is how can I post from my own website? I have to use post Android to send a post request or a patch request.
Well, there are many ways that you can do it. You could either use Postman. There are also alternatives. I think, for example, Insomnia is, I think, an open source one that I prefer over Postman, just because, like, not that like Postman is great, but Postman, in my opinion, is just overloaded. It just does too much. And Insomnia does only the things that you need well. But then the absolute hacker way, and I know that sometimes you like to go the hacker way, would be to use curl. So, and kernel is running on every Mac by default. I don't know if it's installed by on Windows by default, but what you could do is you could just go to ChatGPT and ask it like, hey, I have my server running on this port. This is my route. Can you help me create a curl request for it? And then you can learn how to do it the hacker way.
But how can I patch from the interface of my own website?
That's what it's going to teach you. Basically, if you have your server running, right, if you run the node file, because at some point you also have the app listen, right, the app.listen. And let me edit our fake thing here. Listen. Oops. Well, listen like this. Yes. You have the listen and you run your file, right? And then you leave that terminal open, let it run. Then you can take one of the tools that we discussed, and there are even more. Like you could easily do a 30-minute deep dive and find the tool that is perfect for you. Maybe, open source, easy to use, or whatever. The many great tools out there. And then you just type in the address or where it's running, which would usually be something like http/localhost, and then the port number, and then the route, right? If you want to do the patch, you would do /comments, /:ID, and then it depends on what you're using. For example, in Postman, you would have to click on the type of request. There's a little button, and you would click on patch. And with Insomnia, the same. With curl, I don't know, but I can give you the answer real quick. How to do patch requests using curl against this route. Oh, let me just grab it real quick. The patch request using curl. Patch request using curl. Blah blah blah. It talks. And here's the code. So let me grab that, put it here, and then we can explore that. So that I comment this out. So basically, curl, you tell it with the -x parameter that you want to do a patch request. Then you give it the URL. Then you tell it the content type, application JSON, and then you give it the payload, which should be just an object with the common property and then the text that you want to put in. And if you put this into your terminal, it would do that patch request against your locally running server. As you can, like, curl is pretty easy to read, but I haven't memorized this stuff, so I couldn't tell you that these are the exact flags that you need to pass it. But yeah, that's how you would do it the hacker way.
And how, is, if I'm editing a comment or a post or a tweet on Twitter, um, do I, is there a patch request involved in that, or?
Yeah, patch is rarely used. Put is way more in use. Patch is pretty much dead because patch and put do the same, and people just one day decided, we like put more, so everyone's using put. But that's exactly what's going on. When you open Twitter, your browser does a GET request. It literally does hundreds of GET requests because Twitter is big and there are so many things that get fetched in parallel. But basically, it does a ton of GET requests. Then when you write something, it does post requests. When you post your tweet, it does a post request. When you edit your tweet, it probably does a put request. But that's exactly how the world works, how every website works.
And how can I build that so I can do that without typing something inside of the terminal? Because on Twitter it works as well, right? I don't have to use the terminal post.
That you do that using, for example, fetch. I can show you a simple example. So you remember, I think what was it? The title code placeholder API. I think we used it before, didn't we, with the to-dos and stuff?
Yes.
You remember it? Yeah. So this fetch you can also do from your app. So let's just do a little bit of React right now, even though we're going to use a bunch of stuff that will seem a little bit foreign to you, but we only want to answer the single question that you have right now. And it doesn't matter that there's a bunch of stuff that you don't understand yet, because I think you will approximately be able to intuit what's going on, right? So here's our React code, which basically looks exactly like HTML, or with the only exception that in React, there's no class property. It's always class name. We will dive in. Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. Thank you for reminding me. So here, this is our React code, right? This is the stuff that we're always typing and that we're always screen sharing. And it's basically this function, it does the same as the HTML that you already know. The difference here is we have a class name here, which does the same as the class that you've came to know. And why it's class name instead of class is too deep right now. We will answer that question someday, but for now, just know it's not, it's just a different word, but it does literally the same. And what we want to do is we just want to fetch the data from this placeholder API. So we want to let's not only fetch one to do, let's fetch all of these to dos here. And the way that we could do that, for example, is if you want to do it on Node without the user even interacting, we could use something called a use effect. Don't worry, there's a bit of new stuff. We will dive into all of this when you get to React. But for now, just imagine this as code that runs a single time when this app loads. It's not technically correct this way, but that's how you can imagine it right now, just for a very shallow understanding. And what we now can do is we can say const response equals to fetch of this URL. And we will obviously, this is a promise, so we need to call this inside of a promise. So let's define a little promise function, async function, fetch to dos like this, and we write this again. Okay, so now we have a fetch call going on here that writes the result into this response. But if you remember, we need to await this because this is the promise, and the data we also need to await response.json. I know it's been a few days or so, but I think you've done this before. And now the only thing that we need to do is these are already the to-dos. So we could technically already stop here and look at this. Let's clear everything afterwards. Where are these console logs from here? So let's get rid of these, get rid of this, get rid of this. That's it. The UID is from here, so let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the console clear. Okay, now we reload this here. And it's not running because the call is not calling the function. We're calling the function, and now we see we got these to-dos. And that's basically how every app does it. Obviously, we would now need to do stuff so that we could put it here into our user interface. But this is basically what's going on when you load an app. It does something. This is just the React way, one of the many ways that you're going to learn how React could do this. And as soon as the app loads, it would automatically fetch from the server the to-dos, have them here, and then we can do anything with it. Is that answering your question? Any follow-up questions? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, why would I do like this, the fetching and the axios.get and the axios.post, where why not just use that? Why am I learning this RESTful, doing it with Postman kind of way? I don't.
Because the average person on the street would never be able to know how to use Postman. And then you get this basically back from the server, this array of objects that's just not pretty. The basic thing that front ends do is they visualize the data for the users, and they make it so that users can interact with the server in a very user-friendly way, which is basically just using a mouse and the keyboard and just clicking buttons and typing into fields.
I think I have to reformulate the question more. My brain is completely knocked out. I have no idea how to formulate the question that I have.
No worries. Then I think just get a good night's sleep, and maybe we can come back to the question tomorrow when you've made your mind up.
Yes.
Then let's do that. I think the destruction part that became more clear, right? And the other rest stuff. Did the
Pardon?
destructuring and did the destructuring stuff and the other rest stuff become more clear for you?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's good to have like the nuance corrections of. I mean, looking back, I wonder why I didn't see what comments was referring to. But for some reason, because there was comments in the URL of the app.get, I think it's a few lines below what I'm
But
referring
that's
to.
something totally normal that happens mostly in the beginning when you learn any new language, right? I think a good example of that is any language has synonyms, right? Where stuff comes up and the word is maybe the same, but through the context, someone who already understands the language well, they're clearly able to tell what is going on here. But if you don't know the nuances yet, your brain hasn't like accommodated to all of the patterns and is able to correctly analyze the context, then there might be a misconception there. And that is not only with like spoken languages, the same happens with programming languages. And that is, I think, what was happening here. That yeah, you mistook a string in for a route as a variable declaration. And that's the same as someone maybe thinking of what's a good synonym in English. I can't come up with a good synonym in English right now, but basically someone mistaking one synonym for the other meaning.
Advice
I
and
can do
advice.
advice and
No,
advice. Well,
I don't know.
I said I only have a dirty synonym in my head. The one for the male chicken, but I don't want to say that one on
Okay.
streams.
Yeah.
But
Got it.
you know what I mean, right? You can mean the male chicken, and you could mean the male genitalia. And someone who's, maybe not as well versed in English, they might confuse the two.
Yes. Yeah. That's yeah. Basically, in my fried state of mind, I went for the lazy pattern matching.
Yeah. But I
Just
love, I think, a great lesson that anyone who's watching can take away, either if you're watching live now, or if you're watching at home at the recording. Even if you're fried, you can still do a little bit of JavaScript. I mean, we did a lot today. This was already a 50-minute stream. But there's no excuse. That's, I think, the main lesson of today. Is like, even if you're very tired, just get in 10 minutes, just get in 20 minutes. Your brain might even make mistakes, but that's fine because some people worry, oh, if I make mistakes, what if these wrong things ingrain? No, because the truth always comes through. Nature always emerges and the truth always comes through. And if you then on the next day also try to do the wrong thing that you mistakenly maybe thought was the right thing, but it ended up being the wrong thing, then nature will correct you, the world will correct you, and the ultimate truth of how the language works will correct you because it's just physical laws. It's just bits and bytes on a computer emerging on your screen, and you're shaping them like a god, which is what makes programming so much fun. So thank you everyone for watching. This has been day 46 of 100 Days of Code, and maybe more we will see, with
Leon and my mentor.
Edith Mills of the Death. Thank you everyone.
Bye bye until tomorrow, and definitely more than 100 days.